CJOC. I think you've already answered the questions that, let me just say this. Apart from you being CJOC, you were also the Deputy Provincial Commissioner, correct?
It was a deputy provincial.
Correct. Yes.
That's
One
correct.
of
You were
many.
one of the deputy commissioners for the Northwest Province. Is that correct?
Correct, Chairperson.
What was your portfolio, as it were? What was your assigned area of responsibility as deputy commissioner?
ORS.
Operational services. Operational services. And I am still Chairperson, because I hear there is a speculation that I'm a cluster commander. I am still a deputy provincial commissioner.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, your positions can be confusing, General. For example, one of the things I'm going to canvass is that although you were CJOC, at some stage you were not really in charge of the situation, and you were merely just a token leader holding the title without the responsibilities. What would you say to that?
Do you mean
I
without
hear
the
it for the first
responsibilities,
time.
or do you mean without the authorities?
Thank you, Chairperson, yes. Without the authorities, it would be more correct, yes. Without the authority that goes with the position of CJOC.
You're going to be questioned about that. I can see you nodding your head. It looks as if you're not going to agree with those propositions. Anyway, but yeah. Mr. Mpofu at the moment is giving you an outline, yeah. and us as well, of
yeah.
the ground he's going to cover in the cross-examination. So when he asks a question, we will know where he's coming from and where he's hoping to go to. So you don't have to comment at this stage. I'm sure you'll get an opportunity to do so before he's finished. And if you don't, then I'll give you an opportunity to do so yourself on your own initiative if the questions aren't asked. But I suspect they will be. So.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, the Chairperson is correct. I'll put to you a series of criticisms of either what you did or what you did not do, so that I can give you an opportunity to deal with those before, at the end, I can argue that you were a token chief of the joint operation. Now, then I've agreed with the Chairperson and the commissioners. I just want to give you an assurance. I'm going to do my utmost to avoid repetition. I've read very extensively the very thorough cross-examination that has been done by many people on some of the issues. However, when I do ask something that has been covered, I will try to be doing it for a specific purpose that has not been covered. Okay? All right. And lastly, I just want to say, I know that on the 16th, you were not at the scene yourself, but I'll ask you a few questions about the scene, simply in your capacity as the CJOC. Now, on the 13th, let's start with the 13th. It's your evidence that General Mbombo gave you a kind of wide-ranging instruction which included dispersal and arrest of people, correct?
As stated in the OB, correct, Chairperson.
Yes. And at that stage, you had only 120 So, prefacing ourselves, or rather, limiting ourselves to the question of Monday, which you've said is one of the possibility. What's your answer?
Chairperson, it's difficult for me to speculate.
Well, I will speculate for you. That would have been an impossible instruction to carry out. What's your comment?
No, Chairperson, in the sense that General Mbombo gives a strategic instruction. I need to operationalize that instruction according to the circumstances and according to the means that I have, taking into account all legal aspects of crowd management. She did not in any way prescribe how, when, and how to do it. That has to be decided by the overall commander.
Okay, I promise you I'm not going to ask you to speculate a lot. But if that instruction had to be carried out on Monday, you as the operational commander, what would you have done?
Chairperson, is exactly what I did to negotiate, apply situational appropriateness.
At the copy?
The same, and I said it also to the protesters at the railway line. And while in the process, assembling the required resources, as we did.
The point I'm really driving at is this, and I'd like your comment. Can I continue, Chairperson? Yes, thank you. The point I'm driving at is this, General, so that we don't waste time on this. As at that time, it was considered feasible, let's leave it at that, that the dispersals and the arrests that were necessary could be carried out, and the only forces you had at that stage were POP and TRT, correct?
No, Chairperson.
Okay, there was also Vispol.
I just want to explain it. I just want to explain my no. Nobody considered it feasible. Hence, I changed a cap of being an operational commander. It is my testimony to this commission that I took an operational decision and I applied situational appropriateness. Yes.
No, that may well be so.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mpembe. Are you busy still with the question of the adequacy of the forces at his, the members at his disposal?
Yes.
You're too busy.
Yes. In fact,
right. Can I just in the police occurrence book, FF25, we have the instruction you received from Lieutenant General Mbombo as entry number 37 on the 13th of August at 12:45, and this is how it reads. I don't know if it's going to be put up for us, but it's exhibit FF25. It's the page relating to the 13th of August, and it's entry number 37. There it is. It's on the screen now. Now it reads as follows. Jock visit. This is a note in the handwriting, I take it, of Lieutenant General Mbombo, signed by her. And as shown, the different points of gathering, I take it means by shown by the different points of gathering, the planning has been adjusted to disperse the gatherings. All police officials on duty to conduct searches and confiscate all dangerous weapons. All those that can be identified in the footage should be picked up, and deployments to key strategic areas should be enhanced. In terms of our policing on court management, in terms of our policing on crowd management, all members to conduct themselves within the limits of this policy unless the situation dictates otherwise, ensure that peace prevails, signed Lieutenant General Mbomba. So those were the instructions you received.
Correct, Chairperson.
And the reference to the different points of gathering in the first line, I take it includes a reference to the Kopi, because we know that from some time, at least on Saturday, the 11th, the strikers were gathering, or some of them, were gathering on the Kopi. So the reference to the different points of gathering includes a reference to the Kopi. That must be right.
Correct, Chairperson.
Right. So the sentence goes on, the planning is being adjusted to disperse the gathering, so therefore you were instructed inter alia to disperse any gathering of strikers on the Kopi. That's correct, isn't it?
It will also include the Kopi.
Yeah,
correct, Chairperson.
Then she goes on, all peace officials on duty to conduct searches and confiscate all dangerous weapons. This refers to the people, the members of the service who were put under your command when you were made the operational commander, the overall commander. I take it that's right too, doesn't it? Isn't it? When you were made the operational commander, all peace officials on duty were therefore put under your command for the purposes of the operation. Is that correct?
Correct, Chairperson.
Right. So all peace officials on duty to conduct searches and confiscate all dangerous weapons. So the people working under you had to conduct searches and confiscate all dangerous weapons. Is that right?
Correct, Chairperson.
Right. Then those who could be identified on the footage had to be picked up, and deployments to key strategic areas had to be enhanced. Now, what were the key strategic areas? The Kopi was clearly one. I take it key strategic areas included areas which might be the subject of attack by some of the strikers. Would that be correct? Where there had been previous incidents of malicious injury to property and even murder. Is that correct? Correct,
Chairperson. Informal settlement, for example.
Yes. Because I'm not sure anyone had been murdered in the informal settlement at that stage, but that would also be in a key strategic area. Is that right? Right.
Correct, Chairperson.
Now, what Mr. Mpofu is suggesting to you is that at that stage, you didn't really have adequate forces at your disposal to do all the things that you were instructed to do in this entry in the occurrence book. Now, that's what he's putting to you. Now, let's just take that apart gently. How many people did you have under your command? In other words, this reference to all peace officials on duty. Can you give us an estimate as to the number of people who were under your command at that stage in the operation?
Chairperson, I will have to consult the SABC 15 that was on Monday, yes.
Well, perhaps you can do that after the tea adjournment, or during the tea adjournment, that you can tell us after. But can you, at this stage, if you can't please say so, but can you, at this stage, give us a kind of a preliminary estimate, a ballpark figure?
It could be over 100.
Over 100. So, and at that stage, did you have any idea as to how many people were gathered at the Kopi?
No, Chairperson.
But it was presumably quite a substantial number of people.
When looking at the video, when I was briefed, yes, it could be a quite substantial number of people.
All right. Now, at that stage, had reinforcements arrived from other areas yet? We know that reinforcements arrived at Marikana from various other provinces, including, I think, Gauteng was one, and I think even KwaZulu-Natal was another. I mean, there were other provinces also. Had any of these people arrived yet at 12:45 on Monday the 13th?
Correct, Chairperson.
They had? And they're included in the approximately 100 that you've mentioned?
Yes, Chairperson. That is Mpumalanga, POP from Mpumalanga, Gauteng. They were there. Yeah, and also National Intervention Unit.
Yes, I see. And were more expected to arrive? Were more on the way as far as you knew?
Correct, Chairperson.
I hope I haven't interfered with your cross-examination.
Yes,
I tried to cut a path through the bush
Thank
to
you
help
very
you.
much.
I hope I succeeded.
You have succeeded, Chairperson. And even more helpful would be to go to slide L42. Yes. And before we deal with slide L42, you knew, possibly not from personal knowledge, but let me say the police knew that on the previous day, between 2,000 and 3,000 people had, or rather in the past 2 days, 11th and the 12th, groups of about 2,000 to 3,000 people had gathered at the copy, correct?
It is correct, Chairperson. Me in particular, I was not there. I was still on leave.
No, I accept that. I'm just saying it was known to the police that the trend on the 11th and the 12th were gatherings of about 2,000 to 3,000 people. Okay. Now, slide 42 says initially there were 121 members of the police. And then it says an additional 96 were deployed after the incident with the protesters. And that's why I was dealing before the incident, which is the 120, which is more or less what you were saying, about 100 or so. Correct?
Yes, Chairperson.
And by the time you were given that instruction, the other 96 had not been deployed, because it was before the incident, correct?
Yes, Chairperson.
Right. Now, what I'm going to argue is that what can really be described as the deluge of the other hundreds and hundreds of additional policemen who were called up. At that stage, that was not foreseen because the incident with the police had not happened, correct? I mean, the killings.
Chairperson, if you may repeat the question.
Yes. No, I'm saying the additional deluge of, let's say, another 600 policemen who then came had at that stage not been envisaged because the incident, the killings of the 13th had not yet occurred, correct?
No, Chairperson.
Well, if it's no, then you must know something we don't know. What do you know about that?
The mobilizations did not start on Monday. Started from the incidences that were taking place from the weekends.
Yes, but it was the decision, for example, to call the STF not taken after the killing of the police?
Of the STF.
Yes, of the STF.
But
General.
there were a lot of people, of members of the police that were there, that were being mobilized.
General, I'm sorry
Okay.
sorry to cut you.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Yes, no, I thought. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, please answer the question.
The mobilization started before the incident of the 13th.
Is that your answer?
Correct, Chairperson.
Do you remember what the question was?
Particularly with the STF.
Yes, so does that answer really deal with the STF? Please answer the question, General.
The STF were called by General Annandale as a specialized head.
Yes.
He might have an idea, but at that time, I might not have an idea that he had. But what I know is that they were called by him.
Yes.
Correct, Chairperson.
Thank you. So it was Annandale's idea to call the STF, correct?
It is correct, Chairperson.
Yes. So then you agree with me, because General Annandale only featured in this after the killing of the police, not before. Agreed?
Correct, Chairperson.
So then I'm correct that before the police were killed, there was no contemplation of the STF, let alone, there was not even a contemplation of Annandale, let alone the STF.
Chairperson, I cannot say General Edendale and the STF were brought there because of the killings, because I did not call General Edendale. And I think the person who called General Edendale could give this commission a correct answer.
Who's that person?
I don't know, but the provincial commissioner might know who, because the communication was done through the provincial commissioner.
General Mpembe will give evidence, we'll ask her. But it's also possible we can save time by asking the police if they can get that information for us and give it to us from the bar, as it were. That'll save time. But I think you're right. Lieutenant General Mpembe should be able to give us the information anyway. But it will save time, perhaps, if even before she comes, the police legal team provide us that information.
Thanks, Mr.
I'm sure they'll be willing to do so.
We will do that, Mr. Chairman.
Right. One of the key and possibly admirable decisions that you took was, despite the fact that you could have chosen to stay in the chalk and send Khalid's, Brigadier Khalid's, you decided to go yourself, correct?
Yes, Chairperson.
And the key reason that you decided not to send Brigadier Khalid but to go yourself was because you thought that you understood the language and the culture of the people involved, correct?
Correct, Chairperson, and that's not what I was told by General Mbombo, for example.
Yes, no. That's why I said it's admirable. Out of your own initiative, you decided that instead of sending Brigadier Khalid, and because you know the language and the culture of the people, you will go yourself to the ground, correct?
Yes, Chairperson.
And indeed, as we saw in the videos, that assisted a lot, because after Lonmin refused to give you an interpreter, you decided to do it yourself, correct?
In that respect,
no,
yes.
No, that is disputed.
Well, the witnesses said yes.
Chairperson, I'm saying in that respect, yes.
Yeah,
but,
thank you.
But for the fact that the protesters refused to hand over the weapons, no.
Yes, no, we'll get there. All I'm saying is that your motivation, your admirable motivation of going there, and given the fact that you know the language, paid dividends, because in the end you had to speak to them in isiZulu, and they were speaking in Xhosa and Fanagalo, but you understood each other, correct?
Yes, Chairperson.
And if you had, I mean, we can, once again, I don't want to get too much into the area of speculation, but had you not taken that decision and sent Brigadier Khalid and the interpreter was not made available, that there could have been a problem, at least from his point of view, in doing what you did, which was to make the appeals that you did and interact quite extensively with the protesters, correct?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
No.
Okay, the wins.
Yeah, well, I'd prefer the answers from the witness.
The question is called speculative, but and probably not very profitable to speculate, but if Brigadier Khalid had gone there with, say, Lieutenant Colonel Marafi, or one of the other senior officers with him, who was able to speak the various relevant vernacular languages, I take it that it would have been possible to communicate with these strikers through one of the senior officers present who was able to speak the relevant language. Is that correct?
Yes, Chairperson, but I could not speculate what could have happened.
Yes, well, but you didn't just go there as an interpreter. If someone else was there, for example, the other admirable decision to allow the strikers to proceed to the copy might not have been taken, correct?
No, Chairperson, I don't know, because as I said before, situational appropriateness is only taken by the operational commander.
He used the word might, Mr. Mpofu. Mr. Mpofu isn't putting it to you that it would necessarily have happened, but he said it's a possibility, might have happened, that if you hadn't been there to make the decisions and someone else had been, the two important decisions you made might not have been made. That's what he said. I take it the answer to that it's got to be yes, it might not have happened, or it might have happened. I mean, is that right?
Correct, Chairperson.
Yes. Well, and the chairperson was speculating, for example, that had you not been there, Lieutenant Colonel Mirafe could have done the interpretational services, which is correct. But we know what he would have done about the actual whether to allow the...
No, hang on. No. That's not a good point, Mr. Mpofu. We know what Colonel Mirafe would have done.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
No, but this was on the basis that if he'd sent Brigadier Collitz along, we don't know what Brigadier Collitz would have done. Brigadier Collitz might have agreed with Colonel Mirafe, or he might have taken the stance independently, which the witness took. We're in the realms of speculation, and inasmuch as Brigadier Collitz didn't go, I'm not sure there's any profit to be derived from trying to answer the question, what would he have done if he'd gone? But anyway, I won't stop you from following the law. I think I know where you're going.
Yes. No, that's fine, Chairperson. I'll leave it like that for now. We know what he did on the 16th, Khalid, but we'll come there in due course. It's correct, isn't it, that the interaction between you and the protesters on the 13th was respectful on both sides. You spoke to them respectfully and they spoke to you respectfully, correct?
Correct, Chairperson. Only with regard to the communication,
yes,
but not any other matters.
Well, I'll only ask you about the communication. Now, in so much so that you, I don't know what the transcript is, you were referring to each other in very respectful terms. You called them Baba, they called you Baba and Tata, which in the transcript was translated as father. But we know that it doesn't literally mean that. It's a sign of respect, correct? From both sides.
Yes, Chairperson. But despite calling me Tata, they could not listen to me. That was highly disappointing.
Well, they did listen to you, and you did listen to them as well.
I think listen to him means comply with the request. It doesn't mean here.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm clarifying. So you said they said to you, "We'll give you these arms, but we'll give you at the copy when you can have access to all the arms." Correct? And you listened.
Yes, I did listen, Chairperson.
And they also said to you, Baba, we're not fighting with you. They said something between 7 and 10 times. We're not fighting, we're not fighting, we're not fighting. And you listened, correct?
I listened, and I also said I'm not fighting with them, but the problem that I had is the carrying of dangerous weapons.
Yeah. Don't go ahead of me, General, if you may. The third thing they said to you was that they were carrying those arms in order to protect themselves against the NUM and mine security, correct? Who had attacked them previously, correct?
They said so to me, even though I did not agree with them on that point.
Well, how did you know whether or not the NUM had attacked them or the security had attacked them? How could you not agree when you are not even there on the 11th and the 12th?
I'm only referring on Monday because I was there, I could protect them. I'm not referring on the 11th and the 12th.
No,
But, for having listened to them, that has happened, I did listen to them, to that one, on that one.
No, but that answer cannot be correct. Your evidence, and I'll find the passage if you dispute it, your evidence was that one of the reasons you wanted to escort them was that you thought that this NUM might even be on the way, and then the police would be there to protect them, correct?
Both reasons. One is one the advocate is saying, Chairperson. The other one is that if they do not hand over voluntarily their weapons, I'll still have to escort them to protect those, they themselves, and to those that might also be attacked by them.
Yes, you made that clear. There were those two factors which operated. The need to protect them if they were attacked, and the need to prevent them from attacking anybody else. You saw that as your duty as the operation commander of the police there on the scene at that time.
Correct, Chairperson.
Yes. So that must mean that you considered the possibility that they might be attacked, from which they might need your protection, which you provided, correct?
Definitely correct, Chairperson.
Yes.
Chairperson, I just want to add, definitely correct if they did hand over the weapons to me.
Okay, anyway, we'll come back to that. Now, the issue is, when you spoke to your commanders, and then you came back to the strikers, you did not tell them that you had decided that you would escort them to the copy, correct?
Yes, Chairperson.
You also did not tell them that that they should not go anywhere near any settlement, residential settlement, correct?
Yes, Chairperson.
Now, in operations of this kind, you know that communication is very paramount, correct?
Yes, Chairperson.
So paramount that regulation, rather Standing Order 262 postulates 2 warnings to be given, correct?
Correct when dispersing
Yes.
the crowd. Correct, Chairperson.
And
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Mpembe. The point
Sorry,
that
Chair.
arises from the point you made a moment ago. I understand your evidence to be, as I'm going to summarize it to you in a moment, it seems to be borne out by your written statements. And that is that you started counting, and they didn't listen, they got up and walked away. You then decided, you say in paragraph 18 of your original statement, well, not your original statement, your second statement, triple G 12, when they started to move away, you realize and in your supplementary statement, which is exhibit triple H3, amplifying what you said in paragraph 18 of the statement which I've just read, you said Am I correct in thinking that that means that you communicated that to Marafi? You didn't just make the decision in your head to allow them to go and escort them. You communicated that decision to Lieutenant Marafi. Is that correct?
Correct, Chairperson, to all the officers,
Yes.
but not
That's
to
what I
the
want to ask.
protesters. To the officers, but not to the protesters.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Yes, no, I think we understand each other correctly. In other words, you told the commanders that you're going to let them go, correct?
Yes, Chairperson.
And Merafe disagreed with you, correct?
Lieutenant Colonel Merafe disagreed with me. Correct,
Yeah, well,
Chairperson.
otherwise known as Merafe to me. Yeah. And did you...
Interrupt you. Can I just
So-
round
so-
up
okay,
the
Chairperson.
point I was putting, just so we don't get lost. According to Lieutenant Baloy's statement, which a copy of which Mr. Mpofu has very kindly provided us with this morning, Exhibit G16, Lieutenant Baloy says in para 7, I'll start reading the end of para 6. They started singing, and he's talking about the strikers, started singing, stood up, moved forward towards the police. We allowed them to proceed. He then says, now, I don't know whether you agree with this, but this is what he says. When they were about approximately 300 meters away from us, the general told us to let them go, and we would disarm them at the mountain. One senior colonel advised the general, I take it that's a reference to Marafi, that if we intended to disarm them, it was better to disarm them there, because at the mountain they would outnumber us. The general told us to follow them. I advised the general that stun grenades should be used to disperse them. That's what Baloy says. Do you agree with that as well? Or not?
I only agree, Chairperson, with regard to escorting them.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't agree that he has advised me to use the stun grenade.
I see. So you say Baloy is wrong when he says
The stun grenade.
that he
but
advised you that stun grenades should be used.
correct, Chairperson. I also said it that in my supplementary statement.
Yes, yes, I understand. But the point is, where he says that the general told us to let them go, that's correct. In other words, I take it Baloy wasn't one of the commanders, because he was only lieutenant.
Yes, Chairperson.
Yes. And in Marafi's statement, which is Exhibit G15, in para 17, he says, when I saw the miners were not going to listen to Major General Mpembe and lay down their weapons, I spoke to the general and informed him that we should disarm the miners and stop them from continuing, seeing they were heading to the direction of the informal settlement. Well, I'm not sure about that, but we won't debate that at the moment. And they were very aggressive. Major General Mpembe did not agree with me and other officers, and said he doesn't want another Tatani incident, which means he didn't want us to confront the people. I informed Major General Mpembe that I do not agree with him. And then later on in para 18, he says, Major General Mpembe instructed us to follow the miners on foot, and he was also walking with them. He further instructed POP members with 2 Mialas to go to the front of the march and stop them from entering the informal settlement. Do you agree with that?
Correct, Chairperson. Only for the informal settlement and also the other side of them.
Yes, you said earlier that you in order to ensure they didn't go to the informal settlement, you arranged for Mialas to go and block the way, which they did.
Correct,
Yeah.
Chairperson.
But the point is that there's no doubt that the commanders knew what your decision was, because you communicated it to them.
Correct.
In fact, there was a discussion which I take it they heard between you and Marafi, where Marafi didn't agree with you. But you were both the overall commander and the operational commander, and your decision and instruction stood to be complied with by everybody. Is that right?
Correct, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. But you failed, or rather, you decided not to communicate that decision to the strikers, correct?
Correct, Chairperson.
Despite the fact that, as you and I have agreed, communication in these situations and knowing what each side is intending to do is paramount.
I didn't understand each side intending to do.
No.
Maybe if I may be clarified for that one.
Yes. Communication is a two-way thing, isn't it? If you say communication is paramount, it means they say something and you give them information as well. It's the nature of communication, correct?
In that sense, correct, Chairperson.
Yes, but you decided to withhold the information that you had just shared with your commanders from the strikers, correct?
Correct, Chairperson.
But Mr. Mpofu, was there sufficient opportunity to convey that to the strikers? Because when the general started counting, the strikers then started to move, isn't that so?
Well, that's even worse. Okay, let's go there. So instead of saying to the strikers, look, I've decided that we're going to escort you, you started counting, correct?
It is correct because...
I don't think that's right. My understanding of his evidence... I don't think that's right. My understanding of his evidence is he was counting not so they could go and be escorted. He was the counting was to give them an opportunity to lay down their weapons.
Exactly.
They stood up, and according to the passage I read from Beloy's statement, they started singing, in fact, and walked away. So the question is whether he had the opportunity to communicate the decision he took after he made a decision, discussed it with his officers, with his commanders. They couldn't persuade him to change, according to his evidence, change his instruction. By that time, was it possible for him to communicate with the strikers? It may be. I don't know. Let's see what he says.
No, Chairperson.
Let's get his answers. What do you say about that, Mr.?
No, Chairperson. The first thing, they did not give me a chance. And the other issue that most probably, because I was persistent on that, is that they should voluntarily hand over the weapons. And after they shall have handed over the weapons, I could also communicate to them to say why I wanted the weapons. Because that, to me, it was a seriously security risk. Because if I let them go with the weapons, it could have been a serious security risk. But if they handed over the weapons to me, as I counted, I could have explained to them to say why I want the weapons. Secondly, I'm going to escort them. But nonetheless, all what they communicated to me on that day, it was done.
Mr. Mpofu's got another point. What Mr. Mpofu, as I understand him, says to you is this. That's the position up to the time you started counting. But subsequently, we know from what you told us and what you told Lieutenant Colonel Marafi, you decided to let them go, not to seek to disarm them there and to escort them. Now, what Mr. Mpofu wants to know is, did you tell the strikers as they were walking away, in disobedience, of course, of your instruction to lay down their arms, did you tell them, we will now escort you to the kopje, or did you not? And the question flowing from that is, what did you, in fact, practically speaking, have the opportunity to communicate that to them? There are two questions which, if counsel asked them, I wouldn't allow it, but seeing I've done it, I will. Can you answer?
No, Chairperson. The video, it's clearly an objective evidence. They were singing seriously in disobedience. They couldn't listen. I couldn't allow them to go. They stood up and they go. So there could not have been any time to communicate with them.
Okay. Sorry. General, this is quite an important issue. Am I correct that your discussion with Lieutenant Colonel Marafe and the disagreement about what should be done happened just before you started counting, correct?
I would say yes, Chairperson.
Yeah. Now, in that case, then your answer is completely does not make sense. You're just grabbing a leaf while you are sinking. If you took the decision, if you took the decision to let them go before the counting, then you had the opportunity, because instead of counting, that was the time at which you could have been saying to them, gentlemen, at that point when you started counting, your lips could have been saying, gentlemen, I've now decided to escort you to the to the copy. That was the opportunity. Do you accept that?
Chairperson, I've been persistently requesting them to hand over the weapons.
No.
Chairperson, may I be allowed to answer the question?
Well, I've got to let you answer the question. Of course I have to.
Thanks, Chairperson.
General Mpembe.
He wants to answer the question.
He wants an opportunity. I thought he has already finished.
Answer the question.
Sorry.
I told him I have to let him answer the question.
Yeah,
Answer the question, General.
I misunderstood. Sorry, General.
Thanks, Chairperson, for the intervention. Chairperson, I've been persistently saying that I wanted the strikers to hand over the weapons voluntarily. I never moved on that point. There was no point where I have ever agreed with them that I will escort them to the mountain without them handing over the weapon. My communication with Colonel Merafe and all other officers who were in command post of different units on that day, Chairperson, is not that I'm grabbing the leaf because I'm sinking, because I am not sinking, and the evidence is there, is objective, what I did on that day. And I don't see myself sinking, but what I will answer is, I stood and I put my foot down on the issue of them dropping the weapons. The other issue is, I could not communicate with them because they were singing. They left where we were without giving me an opportunity. The other issue is, they were also carrying those weapons. I could foresee it as a security risk.
Well, General, I'm afraid you are making this up as you go along now. So when you were saying they were singing, it means you were fearing that they might not hear you when you tell them about that you can allow them to go.
I don't understand the question, Chairperson.
Okay. When you say to the Commission...
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, there is no evidence that the witness had decided to escort the protesters prior to them defying him.
That's correct, Mr. Mpembe, isn't it?
Well, Chairperson, I'd prefer the answers to be given by the witness with respect. The issue I'm exploring is if I can just be allowed to explore this point. Thank you, Chairperson. General, please work with me here. When...
repeat your question, and then we will see whether you avoided the objection that's been raised. Repeat your question, Mr. Mpembe.
General Mpembe, one of the disagreements between you and Colonel Merafe was because you said you want to disarm these people at the copy, correct?
It was that we should allow them to go, not to disarm them at the copy.
No. Was it or was it not one of the disagreements between you and Lieutenant Colonel Merafe that you were saying that the people should be disarmed at the copy and you were saying they should be disarmed there, yes or no?
Maybe it's just the difference, Chairperson. But what Colonel Merafe was saying, he wanted they should be disarmed there.
Yes.
And myself, we were saying, if we disarm them here, there will be a confrontation because they are already showing the sign of refusal.
Correct. Therefore, they should be disarmed at the copy, correct?
Not necessarily at the copy, or let's say at the copy.
Yes.
Because at that time, I could not decide that we are going to disarm them at the copy, Chairperson.
Please, General Mpembe, please. Your disagreement, as you say, was that Lieutenant Colonel Merafe was saying they must be disarmed here. You were saying they must be disarmed elsewhere. Let's just forget the copy. Correct?
Correct, Chairperson.
Yes. Now, then your answer cannot make sense. Because if you're saying they must be disarmed elsewhere, what Mr. Matibedi goes out of the window. Because if they're going to be disarmed elsewhere, that means they're going to leave with their arms. Correct?
Correct, Chairperson.
Yes. Right. So let's cut out this story about they were not going to leave with their arms. Now, I'm asking you a question. When we've now established that you took the decision to let them go before the counting, correct?
May you please repeat the question?
You and I have agreed that you took the decision to let them go and had the discussion with the Mirafes of this world before you started the counting.
No, that can't be right. What was the point of the counting? I understood the point of the counting.
Well, that's what the witness said.
Well, let's ask you. What was the point of the counting?
It was that they should lay down their weapons.
Yeah, that's what I understood.
General, did you 5 minutes ago agree that the disagreement with Mirafe happened before the counting or not? Or is it my ear?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, before the witness answers, could I read the statement of Mirafe on this aspect?
No, Chairperson, with the greatest respect.
No, come on. This witness is being cross-examined.
Yeah.
There may be differences between his evidence and Mirafe's. I don't think it's an appropriate intervention to remind him what Mirafe said before he answers the question. I think that would hamper cross-examination unduly. But I think you can carry on, but I think there may be something which may have to be interposed later. But carry on first.
Thank you.
I'll keep a close eye on what's happening.
Thank you,
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, the reason why I'm saying so is because the contents of this statement does
I know exactly what
does not
Mirafe's-
support what
No,
is being to the
but
witness.
why?
Re-examination
Witness A
is
is
for
giving
this.
evidence, and it looks as if he may be disagreeing with witness B. It's not appropriate for his counsel to jump up and say, well, before you answer the question, I want to remind you what witness B said. Yes. That stultifies cross-examination, and I've never known it to happen before, and I don't propose to allow it to happen here. But on the other hand, I don't want the witness to be misled or tricked into something, so that's why I'm not suggesting trick in a nasty sense. I don't want something to happen in cross-examination which is unfair to the witness. I'm not suggesting Mr. Mpofu is doing that, but it may happen inadvertently, so I'm keeping a close eye on it. But Mr. Mpofu, you may continue.
Well,
the objection is, the suggestion by your learned friend is not acceded to. Carry on.
Thank you, Chairperson. You know, General, before I'm accused of things which I'm innocent of, let me
accuse you of it. I haven't accused you of it.
Yes,
I've accepted your innocence pro tem anyway, so let's stay on an innocent mode and carry on.
No, that's why I'm saying before I'm accused. Yeah. I'm not accused yet.
Innocence has not been rebutted.
Yes. Now, before that happens, General, I want to ask you again. I'm giving you an opportunity, and you can explain to this commission. And if you made a mistake before, you can say so. We all make mistakes. So I'll give you an opportunity again. Did the discussion between you and Mirafe and the generals about what we've now referred to as the disagreement occur before the counting, yes or no?
It occurred before the counting.
Thank you.
The counting was not to disperse. The counting was they should lay down their weapons. That's all about counting. It was not about dispersing. It was about them laying down their weapons.
Yes.
Now, before Mr. Mpofu continues, I want to get clarity on something that happened immediately prior to your counting. There was a disagreement between you and Colonel Mirafe. Right. Now, what precisely was the disagreement about? What did he want you to do, and what did you want to do? I think we must have that clear before Mr. Mpofu proceeds.
Colonel Mirafe wanted the...
Not a general, he was a colonel, I think.
Yes, Lieutenant Colonel Mirafe. Lieutenant Colonel Mirafe wanted that the protesters be dispersed and disarmed there and there. And I said, if they refused, because the risk of refusal, since I've been communicating with them, it was there, then it was that we have to force them there. We need to disarm, need to disperse them and disarm them there, and that's where it was the point of disagreement.
Thank you.
No, but that's no, please, man. That's the point of agreement. So you're saying he was saying you must disarm them
That's
there.
the point of disagreement.
No way.
Yes, he said
Disarm. They both are saying there must be disarm there.
No, but you've missed something, Mr. Mpofu. You've missed something, Mr. Mpofu. Don't make all these gestures and so on. It doesn't help us. What he said was he wanted them to lay down their arms. He said Marafi wanted him to disarm and disperse them. Disarm and disperse them. And as far as I understood the difference between them, was he didn't agree with any attempt to disperse them at that point, nor did he want to disarm them, which I take it means going to them and taking their arms away. He wanted them almost in a coercive way. He wanted them to lay down their arms voluntarily. So there's quite a lot of blue water between the stances as expressed by him on the one hand and Marafi on the other. So I'm not stopping you from proceeding your cross-examination, but the cross-examination must proceed on what he says and on a clear and accurate understanding of what he says, particularly as to the nature of the disagreement between himself and Lieutenant Colonel Marafi. But having said that, you may now proceed.
Thank you.
Can I just clarify something before
you.
that, please?
Oh, sorry.
Something that appears on the record previously. When you had this conversation with Colonel Marafi, and he said disarm and disperse, did that include arresting anyone at that scene?
Correct, Chairperson.
Yes, thank you.
Was a dispersal, to take the form of breaking up the gathering by taking the gatherers into custody.
Correct, Chairperson.
You did say that previously in a passage
It's at page
has been
11121.
shown to me, which is at page 11121 on, good gracious, day 103 of our sitting.
I didn't hear
They
that.
spoke about arrest, that Marafi effectively wanted you to disarm the people and arrest them. Now, is that correct, or is that a misunderstanding of what Marafi was saying?
It is correct, Chairperson, because he wanted all the processes being done, despite that we could see the resistance from the protesters themselves.
You know, all right. Now, and your difference with him was that you wanted those processes to be done at the copy, correct?
No, Chairperson, I said we have to apply situational appropriateness.
And after applying situational appropriateness, you wanted those processes to be done at the copy or elsewhere, correct?
Chairperson, by that time when the decision will take place, the situation could detect itself, not necessarily somewhere else. But as I said, at that time, at that situation, we couldn't disperse and disarm them by force.
Yes, sir. And that's why you took a decision to escort them and not do...
No, that's not entirely correct. He took a decision first to count to 10, and he's explained what that was. That was to afford them an opportunity to lay down their arms. But he made a further decision, of course, as you will point out to me in a moment if I don't say it myself. And that was that if they didn't comply with his requests and the opportunity he was giving them by counting to 10 to lay down their arms, the further decision was not to try to force the situation at that stage, but to allow them to go to the Kopi and to escort them on the way with the dual purpose of protecting them from being attacked by their enemies and preventing them from attacking other people. I think that's his evidence, isn't it?
Well, except, Chairperson, you know, I'm going to move from this, but this is actually so simple. Then there would not have been a disagreement with Marafi if that was the sequence of events. The true sequence of events...
I think that's a matter for argument. I see clear blue water between the stances of the two, but if I'm wrong, you can persuade me in due course.
I will.
Endeavor to do so, that the blue water that I see is imaginary.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Chairperson. Did you say, General, did you say realizing that a violent confrontation... I'm sorry?
Sorry, Chief.
Okay. He wants to.
And then we must give the witness a chance.
Yes, yes, of course.
It's no good that you and I have the battle. You must have it to the end. And it must be peaceful with gloves and all that. Yes, yes, General, what do you want to say?
Chairperson, at this stage, I consider it important, the fact that that's what made actually members to be unhappy with me. I wanted to indicate it at this stage, that is what actually what the chairperson has explained, that what makes actually the members to be unhappy with me. And they refer to it as incorrect instruction.
Yes, correct. In fact, that's why Baloi says, no, we can't disarm them at the copy because they will outnumber us. I mean, really, isn't it?
Did Baloi say that? Whether he says it in his statement is not a matter, but did he say that to you? Did Baloi speak to you at all after you'd had your discussion with Colonel Marafi, Lieutenant Colonel Marafi? Did you have any discussion at all with Lieutenant Baloi?
No, Chairperson.
Yes, you see, Mr. Mpofu is correct when he says that that's what Baloi says. What he says is, let me read it to you because this is what is the basis of his question. He says when they were about, I think I read it before, but let's read it again. When they were about approximately 300 meters away from us, the general told us to let them go, and we would disarm them at the mountain. One senior colonel, presumably that's Marafi, if he's a lieutenant colonel, I'm not sure how senior he was as a colonel, but we won't worry about that. One senior colonel advised the general that if we intended to disarm them, it was better to disarm them there, because at the mountain they would outnumber us. The general told us to follow them. So you didn't talk to Baloi, but what Baloi in fact says is that a senior colonel, I assume is Marafi, advised you that if you intended to disarm them, it was better to disarm them at the mountain because you would be outnumbered. Sorry, better to disarm them there because at the mountain you would be outnumbered by them. Now, is that correct? Is that what Colonel Marafi or some senior colonel said to you at the time?
Correct, Chairperson, only Colonel Marafi.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, you and it is at that point that you said you did not want, the reason that you were taking your stance that they should be disarmed elsewhere was because you did not want another Tatane incident, correct?
Yes, Chairperson. That's meaning I didn't want there should be more violence.
Thank you.
That was the application of the principle of situational appropriateness.
Correct, Chairperson.
Did you actually use I know you spoke about the Tatani incident and your concern that there shouldn't be a repetition of that. Did you also actually use the phrase situational appropriateness when you spoke to Colonel Marafi, Lieutenant Colonel Marafi?
Yes, Chairperson. I said to them the way in which I see the situation, for me taking into account that they are POP members and they know the interventions, actions or the modes that the POP members do, is that the way in which I have spoken to these people, the way in which I see the situation, I am going to make sure that they do hand the weapons by counting. If they don't, we'll have to accord with the situation.
And you said if they don't, then they will have to be disarmed elsewhere because you didn't want a Tatane situation, correct?
No, Chairperson, because we did employ also other methods of persuading them to disarm. We did bring in the negotiators, so I couldn't say
that was later. That was on the Tuesday. Is that right? The other methods we used later.
correct, Chairperson.
The negotiators came, Lieutenant Colonel McIntosh, I think, came and dealt and spoke to the strikers at the Kopi, and he endeavoured to negotiate with them, but that was on the Tuesday.
Correct, Chairperson. Chairperson, what I wanted to indicate is that it's not correct to say I was going to disarm them at the mountain, because there were well going to be other alternative methods, which we did do before resorting to the disarmament process, which is known as dispersal process. So it is not correct to say I wanted to go and disarm them at the mountain.
Yes.
Well, if other methods could have been, could have worked, we could not have, because as I've indicated, dispersing the protesters, it was a last resort.
Yes. General, I'm prepared to grant you that. In the 6-kilometer distance between where they were and the mountain, another opportunity might have arisen to disarm them. I'll grant you that. The only issue I'm saying to you is that your decision...
No. I think what you're granting him is something he doesn't want granted. I don't think that's his evidence. His evidence is not that he was hoping to find another, there's a possibility of another opportunity en route to the Kopi. What he was saying was that even once they've gone to the Kopi, that doesn't mean we won't be able to disarm and disperse them in some way later. And in fact, it goes on to say what was in fact done thereafter in an attempt to do that. Firstly, they tried the negotiation route. He will tell us in a minute if we give him an opportunity. They then tried to get the trade union presidents involved, and he then says that ultimately what they did was what he regards as the last resort. All those raise issues that can be debated, but we've got to understand what he's saying. He's not suggesting that we have an opportunity to disarm them en route to the Kopi that day. He's not saying that, as I understand him.
Oh, good.
Am I understanding you correctly, or Mr. Mpofu understanding you correctly?
Is a chairperson who understands me perfectly correct.
Oh, thank you. Then that's even better. That's even better. Because then there were two options then. You could either disarm them where they were sitting or after the Kopi, as the chairperson says. So those were the two options, correct?
I think by after the Kopi, he means after they'd arrived at the Kopi.
Yes.
Whether on that day or the following day or the day after, or even possibly on the Friday morning, but that's something we he may get to later.
Thanks, Chairperson, to understand the after the Kopi, to explain the after the Kopi to me.
Yes. In other words, if you agree with the chairperson, my interim solution is kicked out of the window. The only options were to disarm them there and there, or at the Kopi or thereafter. Agreed? General, I'm asking you a question.
I put it on a different basis. I think, with my customary humility, I think is more accurate. And that is that the options were either to do what Marafi wanted you to do, try to disarm them and disperse them near the railway line, which will have involved the use of force, I take it. Right? That was what Marafi wanted you to do, if they wouldn't agree to lay down their arms voluntarily. The alternative was what you had in mind, and that to take steps to disarm them and disperse them after they've got to the Kopi. Right? In other words, you're going to let them go to the Kopi, you're going to escort them to the Kopi, make sure they didn't get up to mischief while they were on the way to the Kopi, and protect them insofar as they needed protection on the way, and once they were there, you were then going to deal with the situation as it arose with them there at the Kopi. Am I understanding you correctly?
Yes, Chairperson.
That would have involved, or potentially would involve, a number of actions, and which might ultimately have culminated in action on the Friday, but we're not there yet at the moment. Is that correct?
Yes, Chairperson.
Good. So, yeah, no, I'm
Advocate Hemraj says, for the sake of completeness, I'll just add one thing, which you told us already, but let's get the whole position on the table at one time. As far as you were concerned, first prize was they would listen to your request to lay down their arms voluntarily, and for that you gave them the opportunity by counting. That was to you was first prize. To you, second prize was letting them go to the kopje, protecting them on the way, preventing them from getting up to mischief on the way, and once that, after they've arrived at the kopje, deal with the situation in various ways. That was your approach. Is that right?
Correct, Chairperson.
Marafi had another alternative, and that is that if they don't voluntarily lay down their arms near the railway line, you'll take them from them by force and you'll disarm them, which you'll disperse them, which would include, as you've explained, arresting them. Right?
Disarming and arresting
You
them.
didn't consider that to be an appropriate response to the situation, because you thought that that would lead to a Tatani situation and bloodshed, and that's something you didn't want to happen. Is that correct?
Correct,
That's your
Chairperson.
evidence.
Yes, Chairperson.
Thank you. And you also did not tell the strikers at any stage that they were not to go towards or past, I don't know what the real thing was, the informal settlement, correct?
I've already testified, yes, Chairperson.
Well, can you testify again? Yeah. Okay.
You said yes again.
Yeah,
Is that happy
thanks.
with that?
All right. Now, at this point, when these people started to leave, they were proceeding peacefully, correct?
Chairperson, maybe the video will be a very objective evidence, because I might say it's peaceful, but the way in which I saw it and the way in which they acted, it was not peaceful. But
Okay.
the video is at the disposal of the Commission, maybe too. Once, why I'm saying so, it was not peaceful. They knew that I wanted they should drop the weapons. Secondly, we did not even have a chance of talking to each other.
Yes, but according to Farlam, they were freed some at the stage that they left that place, correct?
No, Chairperson, I need to put it on record. Colonel Farlam was in the chopper. He might see it from the chopper. He was not on the scene. For him there on top, maybe he could have been freed some, but to those that were next to the protesters, it could have been something else, as I explain now.
Yeah, no, it's not maybe. I'm telling you, from where he was, they were freed some. It's fair to say he was. It's fair for you to say he was in the chopper and what have you. But I'm telling you that from where he was, they were peaceful. Correct?
Chairperson, in my case, no.
Listen, I don't think you could take it much further. Colonel Farlam has given his impressions, which in his statement.
That's all.
I understand you give evidence here, so you have an opportunity to ask him about it. The witness has given his impression. And I would suggest you might consider moving on to the next point. I think you've got enough material on record from this witness to argue what you want to argue in due course, in the light of what Colonel Farlam tells us. So you might like to move on to the next point?
Yes. Well, no, I'm moving to the next point, but it's still around this issue. When they proceeded, we're now talking before the tear gas and all that. When they proceeded, they did not attack anybody, correct?
Yes, Chairperson.
They actually walked in close proximity to some of the policemen who were armed, correct?
Reasonable distance, yes,
Yes.
Chairperson.
And they simply marched on in the direction of the kopje, correct?
Others marched, no, Chairperson, others marched in the direction of the informal settlement.
No.
I'm sure that that's visible on the video.
No.
But
Well,
in any event, you were there, and you got the inyalas in place to stop them going to the informal settlement, as you told us. That's right, isn't it?
Correct, Chairperson.
To block them from going to the informal settlement if they wanted to.
Yes, Chairperson.
General Mpembe, I'm not talking about we're going to have a lot of discussion about that. I'm not talking about the disputed thing about the tear gas and whether they were veering off to the informal settlement. I'm far from there. I'm saying the first 300 to 400 meters before we got to that point. That's where we are. You agree?
Yes, Chairperson.
That the point I'm talking about is, if you remember when you and I were at the inspection in loco, you agreed with Mr. Nzuza and Mr. Boy. There was a slight difference as to whether this tree or that tree and so on. But at that point, you agreed about the route until after the dam. Do you agree? You remember that?
Correct, Chairperson.
Yes. So I'm talking about that point where we are all on the same side. I'm saying that at that point, in that 300, 400 meters, we'll get the exact distance. I'm not sure. You've agreed that they walked past, they did not attack anybody, and they walked in close proximity to armed policemen until the trouble started. Agreed?
A reasonable distance.
Yes.
Quite close proximity, it was a reasonable distance. I'm not quite sure what the difference is. How far would you say they were from the nearest policeman?
Chairperson, I did draw, I don't know whether...
Give me a ballpark estimate.
As I said before, I'm very poor in measurements. Maybe if we...
Would you describe it as close proximity or something more than that?
As a reasonable distance from the
and
police.
tell me, were the police all behind, as they walked towards and were they walking in the general direction of the copy when they walked away? In the general direction of the copy?
Yes, Chairperson, we can also be saying that they were working in the direction of the copy because we knew that they are going to the copy.
And were the police at that stage behind them?
They were behind them, but I did indicate that there was some sort of a curving circle.
Yes,
but behind and also, yes, Chairperson.
And did they walk, did any of them at any point look in the direction of the police as they were walking, or they just walk away, all facing the direction of the copy? Yes. What is, I'm reminded of, is at some point in the evidence, page 11168, it was said that the distance was about 30 paces, and 15 to 20 places. And he's not with us today, but he was there at the time. Mr. Pretorius, the attorney, actually paced it out. So these are 15 to 20 Pretorius paces, if you know what I mean. That appears to be the distance. Is that right? But the question I asked you was, as they walked, were they all facing towards the copy?
Correct, Chairperson.
They weren't sort of looking out, glaring at the police and waving their pangas at the police, were they?
No, Chairperson.
So there were no aggressive, am I correct, if I'm wrong, correctly, there were no aggressive gestures from them at that stage as they walked towards the copy. Is that correct?
No, Chairperson.
Thank you. And I put it to you, and in fact you'll see on the video that at least two, or one, it might be the same policeman, maybe from different angles. One of the policemen that they walked past was about a meter or two from the crowd, and they walked past him as the chairperson describes. They walked past him facing the direction of the copy. You remember that?
I already said that they were moving to the direction of the copy.
No.
But maybe I might see that one.
Now, the suggestion, there's an added fact that Mr. Mpofu has added to his question, and that is that in the respect of a couple of policemen, that there was a distance as they walked past in the way you've described, who agreed with the description, who were about a meter away from them. That's the extra point he wants you to comment on. Is that correct?
Correct, Chairperson.
Now, 11:15, I was proposing to take tea round about this time. If you have still got some questions you want to ask on this point before we take tea, you may proceed. And if so, would you please let me know when it will be a convenient time to take the piece. Otherwise, applying a principle of appropriateness to the decision as to when we'll take the
situational appropriateness, Chairperson. Yes. Yes, Chairperson. what I'll endeavor to do, yes, what I'll endeavor to do is just to finish this segment before what I call the trouble started. And I'm close to that.
You want the trouble to start after tea?
I want the trouble to start after tea, Chairperson. Now, until what you call the spark, which was the throwing of the tear gas, the situation that you and the chairperson have agreed on prevailed. They were moving towards the direction of the copy, and if and when there were policemen, they were passing them and proceeding. And at the beginning of that walk, they were, okay, I know the chairperson doesn't like this word, which we've invented, crouch walking. But at the beginning of that walk, they were sort of walking, but kind of crouching at the same time, correct?
Clarity, Chairperson, because remember, since you left me while 300 meters, now are you back for when they start, or?
Yeah, when I say the beginning, it means the beginning, General.
Oh, we are now back where I was addressing them.
Yes.
When
walk
they
can only begin at the beginning.
When they move, singing the song, they were on the crouching position.
Yes.
Correct, Chairperson.
Walking in a crouching position, presumably leaning forward, with one, so we're not standing upright, but leaning forward, and walking in that fashion. That's the. I would like to think that in the rich resources of the English language, there's a single verb that covers that, but I haven't been able to find it yet. And Mr. Mpembe hasn't either, but we will persevere, Mr. Mpembe. Carry on.
Mr. Chairperson, they're shuffling, Mr. Chairperson.
Yeah.
Relates to what you do with your feet. It doesn't relate what you do with the upper part of your body. You'll have to try harder. Carry on, Mr. Mpembe.
Thank you. Okay. For now, we'll stick with crouch walking. Until we find a better...
Sorry, Chairperson, I just want to add crouching position, and while they were past those stoned, they were ululating.
Yes, thank you. And this is the period that we've all agreed there was no sign of aggression, correct?
The answer that already. Do you want to undo it? So you've got the answer already.
Well, you got it, Chairperson, but that's fine. It's just as good.
Good cross-examiner doesn't undo things that have been...
Well, then I'm a bad cross-examiner.
No. You're learning, Mr. Mpembe. Carry on.
Thanks. Now, at the... Mr. Madlanga, and I think the Chairperson as well, asked you questions about mainly what was happening on the right flank. Remember, that's where the first informal settlement was, correct? The right flank of the crouch-walking protesters. Do you remember that?
Chairperson, maybe the explanation. At that time, there were no more crouching, because now I hear the question is at crouch walking. Because
okay,
maybe
fine.
I need just to understand.
They were
because
now
at
walking.
that time, they were not crouching. They only crouched when they moved from the side. And then as the chairperson asked, they were only now moving.
Yes.
Anyway, these are matters that we can get the answers to from the video, actually. You don't need...
And that's not even the gist of the
what
question, yeah. That's got nothing to do with the question, quite frankly. The point I was asking is that as they were doing whatever, moving forward, the Nyalas and some of the policemen kept guard on their right, between them and the informal settlement, correct?
It was not between, but it was in front of the informal settlement.
Yes.
Yes.
And do you accept the following? which is where I'm going to start after T, that, and this is based on what we saw at the inspection, and if you dispute it, we'll find other ways of showing it. Do you accept that given the direction that they were taking, and postulating that they were going to go straight to the copy, that at some stage they had to pass a residential area? There was no way of getting to the copy without passing a residential area. In other words, if you drew a straight line in the direction that they were moving, there was always going to be some housing that they were going to pass. Or don't you know?
Chairperson, I cannot dispute that unless maybe if I'm shown, but the informal settlement, I could understand that we had to pass it as far as limitation is concerned, but not to go out inside the informal settlement as they did.
Well, General, that can be correct. Surely these people were at least 100 to 200 meters from the informal settlement when the trouble started. When the tear gas was thrown, they were still on the veldt. They hadn't even reached the road, let alone the informal settlement, correct?
No, Chairperson, others were seen in the direction of the informal settlement.
Yes, I dispute that, but that's not the point I'm making now. I'm saying in the direction, let's accept it was in the direction, but all I'm saying to you is that they had not reached any informal settlement. In fact, they had not even reached the road, let alone the informal settlement. Correct?
Correct, Chairperson.
Thank you.
Before we take the tea adjournment, Advocate Hemorrhoid wants to correct something, but before she does that, I want to point out in Exhibit H 59, the third page, we have a photograph which, no, yes. Now, this was Ms. Barnes' exhibit, which apparently is going to be the subject of maybe an agreement between MQ and the police. But I'm not concerned about the yellow arrows on the picture, but that indicates, does it not? Firstly, do you have it in front of you? I'll pass my one to you if you haven't got it.
No, Chairperson, I don't have it.
All right, well, I'll give it to you in a moment. You can just listen to me. What it shows is a blue circle, which I think is the copy. It shows a red circle. Oh, there it is. It's on the screen, I think. Blue circle, which is the copy. A red circle where what we can call the hostilities took place, where there was fighting. The yellow, it's, what would you describe as on the circle? No, it is a direction. I'm not talking, I said specifically I'm not talking about direction. This is a photograph of the scene. Now, we are told that the blue circle is the copy. Would you agree with that?
Yes, Chairperson, I would agree in terms of the direction.
Yes. We're also told that the red circle is where the fighting took place. Is that correct? Or can't you say?
Chairperson, I will agree also if I look in terms of the scenes,
yes.
But I don't dispute it at the moment.
Okay. And there's it looks like a lozenge shape, a yellow shape. That, we are told, again, the question is, can you confirm it or not, that that's where the confrontation took place near the railway line?
Yeah, probably, Chairperson, is where I spoke with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the last thing, as I say, I'm not talking about the yellow arrows, that's not part of what I'm concerned with. There is an orange semicircle, and we're told that's the informal settlement. Is that correct?
That's correct, Chairperson.
So that shows us, if you ignore the yellow line, that shows us the scene, which presumably Mr. Mpofu will deal with after tea. Is that right, Mr. Mpofu?
Yes, Chairperson, if I can just ask one question arising from this.
Yes, right.
Yes. Now, the point I was simply making to you, if you use that picture, is that where the second yellow line, the second yellow arrow.
Do we have that point? I've got mine.
Can you see that?
No, Chairperson, I don't understand the second because there are so many yellow lines there.
There are three. There are three lines between. There are three arrows. An arrow is the one that has a
Use the pointer.
Sorry, there's a yellow line which runs from the place near the railway line to the beginning of the red circle. And then the line continues, but presumably that's more an imaginary line, but the line continues to a point just beyond what looks like a track or a road to the left as we look at the picture of what the witness concedes is the informal settlement.
Yes.
And then that's where the second arrow head is. And then it moves to the right at, I suppose, something like 45 degrees towards the blue circle, which is the copy.
That's correct.
So there are not three yellow lines. But there are three, as it were, arrows if one has regard to the arrowheads.
That's exactly what I said.
Right, okay.
I don't see three yellow lines.
Okay. Ask your question now in a way that it's simple enough for me to understand it and then carry on.
General, you agree? When I was saying three arrows, I was talking about 1, 2, 3. Are we together now?
Yes, Chairperson.
Yes. Now, where the second arrow, as the Chairperson puts it, crosses the road. Do you see that point?
I see, Chairperson.
It crosses two roads, you see.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the road which is
both
in line with the top of the yellow semicircle, the orange semicircle, in other words, the informal settlement? Or are you talking about the road which is immediately above the red circle? See, there are two roads.
No. Okay. Where I'm pointing, which is where the arrow crosses the, not the main gravel road, but the smaller walking road. Can you see that point?
I could see that arrow, yes.
Yes. Now, either from your knowledge or from when we did the inspection, or you can take it from me because I've been there many times, that point is part of the informal settlement where that arrow crosses that second road. Or rather, let me just say it's between houses. Do you remember? If you don't remember, you don't. But if you can dispute it, you can. If you can't, you can't.
The simple question is, where that yellow line, yellow arrow, crosses the narrower road in line with the top of the orange semicircle. What Council wants to know, does it pass between houses which form part of the informal settlement? Is that the question?
That's the question.
Are you able to answer that, or is it something that you prefer to pass on?
Correct, Chairperson. It is between the houses, but it's not the houses that are intensified, and we could still have controlled them through those houses.
So you say it passes between houses, but doesn't pass between houses which you regard as part of the informal settlement. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Or close to the rest of the informal settlement, should we say that?
It could be informal settlement, or it could also be a village, but there were houses, but they were not so intensified. We could control them between those houses.
I see. That's the answer that you're looking for, Mr. Mpofu?
Yes. Did you know that before you allowed the people to proceed, had you ever been between those houses?
No, Chairperson.
Sure. Okay. Now,
these sounds like These sound like post-tea questions, but
Yes,
applying this doctrine of appropriateness.
yes, it's going that way, Chairperson. Yes, it will be
All right.
appropriate.
Before we take the tea adjournment, Advocate Hemrose wants to correct something.
Yes, I incorrectly placed on record that the 15 to 20 metres paced by Attorney Mr. Pretorius was the distance of the police line behind the strikers. That's incorrect. It's actually the distance between the General and Warrant Officer Kun in the police line. I just wanted to correct that.
So that's been sorted out. On that note, we will take the tea adjournment. There was something we wanted the witness to look at, and that was how many members of the service were there on the 13th at the time of the time he went with his men to the railway line. That's correct, isn't it?
Sorry, Chairperson. I thought that was sorted out when we went to slide 42 because the numbers were put.
Yes, 126, I think it was.
121 and then.
I'm sorry, 121 and then a subsequent 96 arrived.
That's correct.
So you let off that task. You can just enjoy your tea. We'll take the tea adjournment.
Thanks, Jefferson.
the time has come for a break. Eh?
It's a good sign.
You just have to burn out until it's thick, and then that's it, guys. You're on your own after that. I'll drop in when I can.
Nicole, that's better.
Saying about.
There must
I
have
love
been
drafting
yesterday I was
work.
missing.
Really?
Every time I try to get into this chair, I miss thrust. Every time I try to go to the bathroom or something.
Every time I think of Tilly doing something in the parking lot.
Every time I think about ruining another friendly relationship by bumping somebody in the
Started with her. And Rustenburg was tough. How confident? But now
Commission resumes. Major General, you're still under oath.
Correct, Chairperson.
Mr. Mpofu, you said the trouble was going to start after tea. Please keep it.
I will
in
reasonably within bounds, Chairperson. General, just want to round off that point that we were discussing, and I'll short circuit it like this. My instructions, or rather the evidence that's going to be led by the people who are involved in the incident of the 13th is going to be one, that what I put to you, that there was no way of going back to the copy without passing a residential area. And I know you don't live there. You might not know the terrain, so if you can't dispute it, I'll understand. But can you comment on that?
Not passing through.
Passing through, yes, a residential area. Well, yeah, let's start with through.
He said that already. He said the way they were going, I suppose they could have deviated, but he said the route that is indicated here, which is the sort of straight line, the shortest distance between 2 points, went between houses, which he said were not part of the sort of denser informal settlement. It was between houses. So you've already got that on record. So I told you before, good cross-examiners don't undo the work they've done already. But bear that in mind, please. But it is correct what he puts to you, is it not? That,
Correct, Chairperson.
Assuming that they were going what was effectively the shortest route, more or less, between the 2 points, they would have to pass through an area where there were homes. That's right, isn't it?
Correct, Chairperson, with an exception that the police could still have control to them. An objective of the police of making sure that others are not injured could still have been achieved.
He's not asking you that. Now, if we look at this picture and we draw a straight line between the place near the railway line and the Kopi, of course it would go straight through what it looks like. Is that a built-up area? Ignore the red circle for the moment, and even the orange semicircle. If you just draw a straight line between the spot near the railway line and the Kopi, it goes right through this. Is it a residential area? Not an informal one, but a residential area proper. Is that right? You see what I'm trying to say? Immediately above the left-hand end of the orange semicircle, there's an area there. Do you know what that area is?
Yes, the one that is orange, it's an, as Chairperson put it, yes, it's an informal settlement, I agree.
Above the orange one, there's what appears to be a rectangular area. What is that?
I'm not sure, but there is also fire, what is it, is lines for the electricity. Maybe that rectangular one is that one, but I'm not sure what is that one.
We can get evidence on that. Okay. But so it would seem, would it not, that the line that's been drawn here, the orange, the yellow line, you know, the arrows, does look as if it's a sensible route to follow if you want to go from the place near the railway line to the Kopi. Is that correct?
Correct, Chairperson.
Right. So now that I've tried to cut some of the bush away, clear a path for you, are you going to put your version or what you're going to do?
Yes, that's all I was doing, Chairperson, at the risk of being called a bad cross-examiner. I'm just simply saying, I'm saying to you, I have to do this, by the way, that the version of the people who were there will be that when you intercepted them, this was on a return trip. Were you aware of this?
I was aware when I was communicating with them, Chairperson.
No, okay. And in any event, one of the implications of that is that when they had gone on the first leg of the return trip, so to speak, they had gone past through those residential areas without even a police escort. Do you accept that?
Chairperson, I cannot dispute it because I did not see them.
You can't accept it, but you don't dispute it. Because you have no knowledge yourself of it.
Yes, Chairperson. That's why I'm saying I cannot, dispute it, yes.
Yes, I think the evidence is, either is or will be, that they went from the Korea mine, they sort of sent out a sort of flying squad almost, from the Kopi, went from the Kopi, sent out a flying squad of about 200 people to the Korea mine because they heard that there was a possibility that the unprotected strike wasn't being complied with. And the evidence, I think, is or will be, I'm not sure I'm relying on statements I read or evidence I heard, but they went to Korea mine, they spoke to the security people there, they were, I think, were satisfied that the strike was being observed, and they turned around and were on their way back when you met them at the railway line. I think that's the evidence. Obviously, it's not something you know about, but that seems to be what's common cause. Is that right, Mr. Mpembe?
That's correct, Chairperson. But the point really I'm making is that when they went through those houses on the first leg of the trip, they did not harm anybody. Would you accept that, or at least that you know of?
You received no report to the effect that there'd been any trouble when they were on the way from the Kopi to the Korea mine. That's correct, isn't it?
Correct, Chairperson, except the earlier reports on Monday when the people were reporting on duty. But for them going from the Kopi to the Korea, no reports, except that on Monday when people went to work, there were people that were, another one was killed, another one was seriously maimed.
Yeah, I'm talking about this particular group of about 100 people or so.
According to the police logbook, current book, there were incidents on the Sunday night, I think, at Korea. Vehicles were damaged. 2 people were killed. I think that appears from the police occurrence book. But that was in the middle of the night, as far as I can recall. What Mr. Mpofu is concerned about is this group who appear to have gone in the daytime. Then, as far as I can see, there don't appear to be any reports, unless I've missed them, in the occurrence book to the effect that this lot got up to any mischief while they were going from the Kopi to Korea. And that seems to be correct, isn't it?
Chairperson, what Chairperson is saying, from the Kopi to the Korea, nothing. But in the morning of that Monday morning, early in the morning of Monday, there was reports of a person that was seriously killed and maimed by some group of people that were moving. But it's for those people that were going at work, and that is also my testimony.
Allegation I see that relates to Vonukop, of course. There's entry 25 in the current books, an incident at 8:30, but that doesn't appear to relate to this group. That was something that happened at item entry 25. Something happened at Vonukop. That's not what it's Vonukop. Anyway, I think Mr. Mpofu's made his point. Would you like to move on to the next one, Mr. Mpofu?
Yes. And I'm going to argue at the end, if you care to comment, that your alleged fear that if this group went through a residential area, something was going to happen, were unfounded, since they had done so, and they were destined to do so anyway, even if you were to take them through, and they had done so without police escort, and no danger had befallen anybody.
Something he says, of course, he doesn't know about, but he doesn't dispute it. So it's an argument that you're putting to him, I suppose.
So by now he will say he disagrees with me or whatever. I just have to put it to him.
You've heard what Mr. Mpembe says. You want to argue with him on that?
Chairperson, I just want to qualify it. Is that, yes, I agree that for them going to their career and nothing happened. But the reports when I arrived there and what has happened, there were people that were killed. There was a person that was killed and there were others that were maimed, and the dockets were opened, and I did also testify on that, by the people who were having dangerous weapons.
Yes.
And I did also testify that I did not know whether they were the same group. But what also I want to add is that the fact that that group, as a senior police official, I spoke to them not to carry dangerous weapons, my fear was not unfounded.
Yes, but we now know that your intention was to disarm them at the copy, or as they had suggested.
His original intention was to get possession of their weapons near the railway line. But he's already told us very fairly that if he wasn't going to try to do that by force, and if he couldn't do it on a voluntary basis, he was happy to deal with, happy is the wrong word, he was content to deal with the situation after they got back to the corporate.
Correct. That's all I'm saying.
You've established that,
yeah.
You've established that.
That's all I'm saying. And did you also know that on their way to Korea, they had been stopped by mine security and effectively instructed to go back to the copy?
I heard that when I was communicating with them, Chairperson.
Yes. And that in that incident, once again, they had obeyed those instructions and they had simply abandoned their trip to Korea, and you intercepted them in the process of them going back to the copy anyway, as they had been instructed by mine security. Did you become aware of that?
When I was speaking with them, Chairperson.
Yes. And in fact, I'd like to show you a video. Chairperson, this video was not on my list, but I've cleared that with Mr. Matibedi. It's just a reference point, really.
Is it a video we've seen already, or do I have to give it to you?
No, it's a new one, Chairperson.
All right, well, that will be exhibit, looks like triple, hang on. That will be exhibit 88861. How do I describe it?
It's a, okay, well, let me first say what it is, Chairperson. It's from the Lonmin hard drive video recordings of the 13th August 2012, and it's video 364.
Sorry. Video 364.
364 in the Lonmin hard drive.
Yes, I understand. In Lonmin hard drive, and are you showing the whole video 364 or only a certain portion?
Yes, Chairperson, yes. For now, let's say we'll play the whole video. But
right. So what I've recorded then is exhibit 88861 is a Lonmin video of the 13th of August 2012. It's video 364 in the Lonmin hard drive.
Yes, and I won't spend much time on it. It's just as a reference point. Thank you.
General Mpembe, are you any wiser than I am? Do you recognize the spot at which this incident, which is on the video, took place? Or do we need Mr. Mpofu to tell us? Mr. Mpofu, can you put it on record to us what that's supposed to be?
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you very much, Chairperson. General, as I said, I'm using this as a reference point of what you and I are discussing, that this was a return trip. The evidence is going to be that what we've just seen is the spot at which the mine security told that same group that they must turn back to the copy, which they did, and then on their way to the copy, they met with your group. So it's just to reference that how the return trip occurred. Do you understand that? I'm not saying you were there or you saw it yourself. Correct?
Yes, Chairperson, I understand.
Yes. And the only point I want to put to you is that these people, when they turned back, they behaved in the same way as they behaved when they were leaving, after speaking to you, clicking weapons and singing rhythmically with the clicking, correct?
Chairperson, as I said earlier on, the behavior of the clicking, and I said they moved in a crouching position, but the difference with me was one, that they did not want to give me the weapons.
Yes.
Which is the difference, and the way in which they moved out there, they definitely showed some disobedience.
Yeah. No.
So I do not have any problem with any other conduct except that one.
Yes.
And the difference between there and here is that the securities did not say they should be disarmed.
How do you know that?
No, what I'm saying is that maybe that's why, because the point of difference that I did not agree with them is when they did not want to hand me the weapons.
General, I accept that, and that you didn't like the fact that they didn't give you the weapons. All I'm saying to you is, when they turned around after that interaction with the security, that they turned back and they were singing and they were clicking their weapons rhythmically with the song in the same way that when they were disobeying you, they moved, correct?
Correct, Chairperson.
Yeah. I'm sorry to do this, but just to round off the previous point so that we don't come back to it, and I don't expect you to comment because you don't know the geography. Can we please put back that, is it triple H 60?
No, let's check.
Must be 59.
59.
Sorry.
We're looking at, when I was questioning the General, was triple H 59.
Yes.
I think it's point 3.
Page 3.
Yes, I'm sorry, General, to take you back. I just wanted to finish a point that the evidence will be that even on the third arrow, now you know what that means. Where that third arrow crosses the roads, the evidence will be that that's also going through some shacks.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mpofu, are you going to be leading evidence to the effect that that's where they were intending to cross?
Yes, well, not only were they intending to cross, but that's the route, more or less, that they followed.
So there will be evidence dealing with that.
Yes, Chairperson.
Yes, you see, I stopped Ms. Barnes because wasn't going to lead any evidence explaining this.
Yes.
That's why I said we can look at the fixed points, as it were. But I wouldn't allow her to ask questions about the yellow arrows because there was going to be no supporting evidence.
Yeah.
But you give me the assurance there will be from your side.
Yes, Chairperson.
Right,
that's why I started the question by saying there will be evidence will be that even at the point where the third arrow crosses, there were shacks.
Second arrow, Mr. Mpembe.
The third one now. That's the extra point I'm pointing. We've done with the second one.
The first arrow is from the yellow lozenge shaped near the railway line to the red circle. The second arrow runs from the red circle to a point on the other side of the road, and the third arrow, as I see it, runs from there to the Kopi.
That's the one we're dealing with.
Okay. So you're now dealing with what's clearly the third arrow.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, the second one we dealt with before I moved, yes.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Can we be referred to the relevant statements dealing with what is being put to the witness, that statement that has already been provided to the Commission?
Well, Chairperson, that's a strange request.
You put in statements by Mr. Nzuza, I think it is, and Mr. Boye.
Yeah.
They are going to say they were part of the group.
Yeah.
They will say that they left the Kopi, went towards Korea, turned around and came back.
Correct.
And even if they don't say so in terms in the statement, you say their evidence will be, as you've now summarized it regarding the route.
That's correct. That's all, Chairperson.
I think that's all right in the circumstances. You carry on, Mr. Mpembe.
Thank you. The other evidence in respect of while we have that picture there will be that let's call it the first residential area, the one that presumably you were stopping the people to go to, is also constitutes or constituted of very sparse shacks. In fact, there are no more than 9 or 10 shacks.
Sorry, Mr. Mpembe, you lost me. It may well be my fault, so I'm not criticizing you.
Yeah.
What's this first residential area you're talking about? Is it the one depicted by or marked by the orange semicircle, or is it not visible on this photograph?
It's the one with the orange semicircle, Chairperson.
Now I follow.
Yes. I'm saying that the houses there are even fewer than the houses that they were going to walk through. There are about 9 or 10 sparsely situated shacks. Would you agree with that, or if you can't remember? As I said, I know you don't come from there, but that's the evidence.
Chairperson, I already said that I do not dispute that they could have been moving through the houses or shacks, but through those spaces, the police could still have controlled them not to have done what we thought that they could do.
Yes. And yes, no, I accept that. But I'm saying similarly, in the part of that the Chairperson and I have identified, if they went through those places, you could similarly have controlled them, correct?
No, Chairperson, I wanted to put it that on that yellow place, that's where one of the protesters was actually fatally injured. Orange one was fatally injured.
Yeah. We're not quite sure who injured him because he was stabbed, as I understand it. And according to the post-mortem report, he died of stab wounds. So exactly how he died, it was established yesterday that he was definitely, day before, that he was actually one of the strikers. He was visible on the videos of the strikers who were by the railway line. The dead body was found in that informal settlement in front of a house. The post-mortem report indicates that he was stabbed, and I think there was a quite serious hemorrhage in respect of one of the stab wounds, which appears to be the cause of death. So exactly how he died, we don't know. That's a mystery yet. Who killed him, whether he died as a result of police action or some other action, is still a mystery to us. But he certainly appears to have died in that informal settlement. How he died, what circumstances, we don't know. So I think you must bear that in mind. Mr. Mpofu?
Yes, actually, you don't even bear it in mind because it doesn't deal with what I'm asking you. I accept that that's where the person died. We're talking now long before anybody dies. I'm saying to you, just as you have testified that you could control the strikers among those shacks that are next to the second arrow, you could similarly control the strikers had they gone to the place with the orange line, correct?
Chairperson, I have already said no, hence I made the reference to the death of the person.
Now, General, when you were supposedly preventing these people from going to that area, you did not know someone was going to die there an hour later or whenever. Is that correct?
Chairperson, our objective was to protect, as I said earlier on.
General Mpembe, please don't make this too difficult. I'm saying to you, before anybody dies, before any policeman dies or whatever, your answer was that, if you remember, I was postulating to you that they would have gone past houses. And then you said, yes, but then we could have controlled that they don't cause trouble. Let's call it like that. Now, all I'm putting to you is that similarly, as that would have happened in that place, if they had gone to the place with the orange arrow, you would similarly be able to make sure that they don't cause trouble there with the amount of police that you had. That's all.
Chairperson, I'm requesting the pointer so that maybe my answer should be correctly understood.
It's being
It's
arranged.
a matter over which I have no control, but is it being arranged that he will have a pointer?
That's correct, Chairperson.
Mr. Wesley is bringing some instrument of some kind.
Chairperson, what I'm explaining is that we didn't want that they should move through these houses, these informal or shacks or whatever. And I don't also disagree that there could have been houses, but there were spaces where we could control them. The fact that they moved out here, there is a person that the chairperson has explained has died. So what I'm saying is that if clearly their intention was not, was surely from the beginning to move there, we couldn't have got any problem. That's what I'm explaining. It could have even been easy, and it could have been confirmed, even if from where they start they have given us their dangerous weapons.
successfully prevented by the disposition you made in respect of the Nyalas. That's what you said before, is that right?
Correct, Chairperson.
Thank you. And in fact, as we can see from the video, and we'll play it if you insist, but I think Mr. Matlanga played it for you. The only way in which the strikers could have gained any access to the residential area with the arrow would have been past the road, and by that time that road was populated by police vehicles, correct?
Correct, Chairperson.
Right. So even if by some miracle they would kind of pass through the line of police vehicles, by the time they got to the residential areas, at least there would be policemen present. At least those policemen were in the vehicles. Let's assume they outran the ones who were following.
Your miracle arises from. If you've got the Nyalas there in place, blocking them from going into the informal settlement, they couldn't have gone to the informal settlement.
Absolutely.
And that's why the witness explained to us earlier when you weren't here that it wasn't necessary for any tear gas to be fired, which is why he didn't give an order. If there had been, he might well have done so, but it wasn't necessary for any tear gas to be fired, he said, because of the dispositions he'd made in respect to the Nyalas.
And that's not the point I'm dealing with. The point I'm dealing with is a different one, namely that the supposed reason or the supposed fear expressed by this witness, not by anyone else, about these people entering that part of the informal settlement was unfounded because it was an impossibility.
What Mr. Mpembe puts to you in that regard, what is your comment? He says your fear was not a genuine fear or not a reasonable or well-founded fear for the reasons that he suggested to you. Do you agree with that or not?
No, Chairperson, I do not agree. As a police officer, if I've been briefed that these people are killing those that are going at work and they are maiming them, and we do have evidence of that, I must be mindful of protecting everyone, including them.
So did you have any evidence that these people, meaning that group, had killed anyone?
Chairperson, as I indicated, the modus operandi of those that were killed and those that were maimed, it was a group that was carrying dangerous weapons. And I did say that I did not specifically say these ones, but anyone who was carrying dangerous weapon, and he's the one that, and that was still under investigation and is still under investigation.
Yes. Okay. Anyway, I think let's short-circuit this by saying this. I'll take the chairperson's word that you have previously stated that there was no need to fire tear gas for the reasons.
My word for it is on the transcript.
Yeah, well, you yourself, chairperson, said I was not here. So, no,
I take it you read the transcript.
Well, you wouldn't have added those words if you thought I knew it. You said I wasn't here to help me. Thank you. Now, do you do you accept that statement?
Chairperson, I said no, and I still say no, based on the fact that I did not know where the workers are working, where I was staying.
No.
And I need to take that informal settlement. It was one of our key areas.
Okay. No, I'm sorry, General. I think the exchange between me and the chairperson confused both of us. What I was saying is that I'm accepting what the chairperson has put, namely that you have said that there was no need to fire tear gas. Now, following from that is the question, which is this. Do you also accept that had the tear gas not been fired, the what we call that trouble, which resulted in the deaths of 5 people, would not have occurred.
Chairperson, based on the history, and that's what I said also, that firing of a tear gas to the protesters, it doesn't make protesters to attack the police, normally, basically.
Because it was followed by stun grenades. And if you're not familiar with stun grenades, you might think that live ammunition was being fired at you. Is that right?
Yes, Chairperson, that one is right.
Yes. And I take your point, General, that all sorts of things could have happened. They could have decided to just sit down and cry or whatever. But all I'm putting to you is simply this, that had that incorrect action of firing tear gas and stun grenades at them not been done, those 5 people would have been alive today.
Chairperson, I've already answered it to say that I don't say it was correct to fire the tear gas. I'm on record on that. But I'm saying on the other hand of the strikers, firing of the tear gas does not give them authority to attack the police. So I can't say the wrong thing corrected the other one.
2 issues really, aren't there? The first is, the one that Mr. Mpofu is busy with, is if the tear gas hadn't been fired, or whatever you do to tear gas discharged, I suppose, and if the stun grenades hadn't been fired, then I take it what Mr. Mpofu is suggesting to you is that the probabilities are, I don't know if you can put any higher than that, the probabilities are that the strikers wouldn't have reacted the way they did. So that's to some extent a speculative matter on which we have to, at the end of the day, may well have to make a finding. I take it he's asking you to comment because you were the overall commander, the operational commander there, and you might well be in a position to help us in regard to that issue which we may have to decide. That's the basis of the questioning. Is that right?
That's the basis, okay. Chairperson. Plus the fact that...
You of course make the further point that that may not necessarily justify the behavior of the strikers in reacting, if it was a reaction, in reacting the way they did. And that may well be the subject of some subsequent proceedings in a court. But Mr. Mpofu is not busy with the second half of the issue, which I've now outlined to you. He's busy with the first half. Is that right, Mr.
That's very right, Chairperson. Just to add that, and that must be what you meant, General, when you said elsewhere that the tear gas issue was the spark.
Mr. Chairman, my submission is that the witness is being asked to speculate on something that is not going to help us. I mean, this is an aspect which, at the end of the day, the Commission must decide whether he says yes or no. It's not going to be of assistance.
Well, I'm not sure you recall, but in your absence, there were a number of occasions when, and I think even when you were here before, there were a number of occasions where I disallowed questions of this nature on the basis it's for us to decide, not for the witness to decide. And we weren't going to delegate our duties to the witness to answer a question which we really are in as good a position as anyone else to answer. But that's the objection that's raised. Do you wish to deal with it?
No, Chairperson. Maybe can I rephrase the question?
Yes, certainly.
Yes. When you said to the Commission that the firing of the tear gas, which goes together with the stun grenades, was the spark, what did you seek to convey was the spark of that incident?
I need to convey, what I needed to convey is that that's what make the protesters to attack the police.
Thank you.
think that's the answer you want, Mr.
That is
Mpofu.
exactly-
You can move on before you undo anything that you've done.
Yes, I'll move very quickly, Chairperson, from there. Thank you, Chairperson. Yeah.
It's been suggested to me that it might be appropriate for us to take a 5-minute comfort break.
That would
soon,
be helpful to me.
But I'm in your hands, Mr. Mpofu. If you're in need of comfort, I suggest that you accept the offer.
I'm in need of comfort, and I think I'm not the only one, Chairperson.
All right, I think we better make it 10 minutes, because in the past, these 5-minute ones have been too short. We'll take a 10-minute comfort break.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Session resumes. Major General, you're still under oath. Mr. Mpofu.
Yes, Chairperson.
General, we're now going to move to what I said to you when we were doing the outline. I'm just going to deal with the incident of the 13th globally as a turning point, without dealing with the specifics.
I take it you're going to put your version, the version of your witnesses, to him insofar as he can deal with it.
Yes, yes, of course, Chairperson. In respect of the first part, yes. General, the version of the witnesses, when I say the version, from now on, I'll be talking specifically about witnesses Mr. Nzuza and Mr. Boy, interchangeably, okay? Their version will be that, as has been shown, when they were asked by the mine security to turn back, indeed their intention was to go back to the copy. In other words, had you not intercepted them, that's exactly what they would have done.
Chairperson, I cannot dispute it because I was not informed. I did not know about it.
Thank you. Yes. And their version will be that when the police did intercept them, led by you, they sat down and crouched as a sign of respect and to show you that they were submitting to your authority.
It might well be their version, but the song and the clicking of the dangerous weapon could not have suggested what they are saying.
Yes. Their version on that, particularly on the clicking, will be supported by the video I showed you this morning when they were turning at the instruction of the security police, and there was no...
Not security police.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Security guards, I think.
Yes, it's deja vu.
Security people.
Yes. At the instruction of the security, the mine security, and without anyone else in sight, but they were continuing to click their weapons. You accept that that's what we saw this morning?
Chairperson, yes, I heard the song and I heard the clicking. But the clicking and the song on that, where I met them, there is a huge difference in terms of the meaning of that.
Expand on that. Tell us what you mean by that.
Chairperson, maybe the video could also help me in terms of describing what I'm saying.
I want to see the video again. Now, this is the video.
Yes. It could help me in terms of describing, having seen the one that they left there and seeing the other one. It could be evident to everybody, to the commission, what could be the difference.
Right. So, what part of the video do you want to be shown again?
Chairperson, immediately when I arrive, when they start singing the song and clicking.
Can we be shown that part? What's the exhibit number again?
I think it's Z1, Chairperson.
Sorry? Z1?
Z1, I think.
Z1. Right. So could we see the beginning, say the first, how many minutes of Z1 do you want to see from the beginning?
Just the beginning. In other words, we just skip the exchanges. It's about 11 minutes, yes. Thank you.
I take it you don't want to see the whole 11 minutes. I mean, what do you want to see?
Correct, Chairperson. It's just the starting of the song and the clicking of only that part.
All right. Okay. Perhaps it can be shown, and when you've seen enough, you can raise your hand, or say that's enough, and someone can tell us how far we were into the video at that point, and then we can carry on.
Chairperson, may I make a request?
Yes, of course. What is your request?
It is, which is meant to save time. While we are showing that portion, General, I'm asking you, can you please not raise your hand until the part where they pass a policeman, just so that we kill two birds with one stone, so to speak.
That seems a reasonable request, doesn't it?
Correct, Chairperson.
Sorry about the birds, but I suppose we must do our best.
Chairperson not there while they were still crouching. Chairperson not there when they were singing the song.
Sorry.
I think those who are showing us the video can't just find the place where the song is being sung. So we're afraid we have to put up with some of the stuff before that. But it will be at least have the advantage of being seen in context. So.
Yes, Chairperson, if I may, on that same vein, fortuitously, I just want to put on the record, General, through you, that that is one of the people I was talking about, Mr. Nzuza, the one who has just spoken, and you heard him saying we're not fighting with anybody. Okay?
Yes, Chairperson, I didn't dispute it, and I also say yes, Mr. Nzuza.
Thank you. Stop. Stop.
I'm a bit of a loss.
Yes.
No. So anyway, something must be done to get this
yes,
right.
We will fast forward. I just want to confirm through the witness that Mr. Nzuza is saying that, again, we are not fighting with anybody. We ask you to please come with us and guide us or escort us.
We've seen that already.
Well, we haven't, Chairperson, not this part. I never translated Mr. Nzuza's statement. At least it was not done by me. He's my witness.
I think it's in the transcript. It's in the transcript. We've seen the video before. But anyway, let's come to the part that the witness wants to see.
Chairperson, the part that I'm requesting the Commission to show is the part of them singing is before Mr. Nzuza is speaking. Is when I was approaching
singing
them.
The song Basiyazi.
Leya Qinisa Masende.
Oh, yes. It's the song in the transcript.
That's at
top of page 4, 9 minutes 29 seconds.
That's correct.
So the policeman says, let the ones with the guns get nearer. So perhaps we can start 9 minutes 29 seconds. Is that, I think that's what you want, is it? And then they sing the song, which my colleague, Advocate Tekoto, will pronounce for me. Yes, he's very delicately said it, but not into the microphone.
There is a chip.
Can we stop right there?
Mpofu, the witness has asked to see the video, so for the moment it's in the video.
Chairperson, okay, fine, then we'll play it again. I'm trying to save time here.
I know you are. I know it's your cross-examination, but the witness did say he'd like to see a part of the video to illustrate his answer. So as far as that's concerned, he's in charge, not you or me. So
okay, all I'm saying, Chairperson, all I'm saying is that I'm trying to save time. If it's suggested that let's play this for the witness and then play it for me later, rather than short-circuiting it, that's fine. I'm happy with that.
All right. So let's carry on for the moment.
Yes, Chairperson, what I wanted to explain.
So you're happy that the picture has been stopped. The video has been stopped at a particular point now. Are you happy to talk now?
Yeah, correct, Chairperson.
I want to endorse Mr. Mpofu's desire to save time, so I don't want to create the impression that I'm against him on that, because I'm very much with him on that. But anyway, carry on.
Correct, Chairperson. What I wanted to explain is that the video that we have seen before, they were walking slowly singing the song Alulating. What I'm trying to explain to this one, when they realize me, I'm approaching them, they are clicking, then the clicking started, and the song is started. So the crouching position and the clicking and the song, to me, didn't show any sign of respect. It shows something else.
Any more in the video, or is that enough?
Chairperson.
For the purposes of the point you wanted to make, is your evidence.
Yes, Chairperson.
You asked to see some of the video to assist you to make your point. Have you seen enough of the video to make your point?
Yes, Chairperson. The other one that Mr. Mpofu asked is that we should leave it until when they pass. I don't.
All right. Well, Mr. Mpofu is entitled to ask for that. Can we move forward to that now?
No, Chairperson. I'd like to talk about this part
I see.
first.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it's your cross-examination.
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. Thank you. I'm sorry, I was trying to save time, but it ends up wasting my time.
Thank you to do that. Then.
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. General, would it surprise you if I told you that this song that these people are singing now and clicking their weapons is exactly the same song that they were singing when they were turning back from the security guards and clicking? Which song says Ingonyam is a Kaya?
Chairperson, I disagree with the song.
Well, then let's play it again.
Because the song that I'm referring to specifically is the one that I say it. I didn't want to say it because it's an insulting song.
Okay, no, that's very well. But I'm saying, do you accept that this song that has been sung here, which you've shown to the commission, is exactly the same song that they were singing when they were turning away from the security, and they were clicking exactly in the same way? The song is Ingonya Misekaya. If you don't believe it, we can just rewind a few seconds and we'll listen to it properly.
Chairperson, I say I don't deny, but the song that I'm referring to and the clicking is the one that I'm repeatedly saying it. Maybe it could be played until that song is being sung.
So at this point, you did not sense any aggression towards you?
I've already testified, Chairperson, that the clicking, to me, it shows aggressiveness. When you see somebody coming to you, coming to talk to you, why do you click the dangerous weapons?
Well, could it be perhaps because they'd been clicking for hundreds of meters until that point?
Chairperson, as a sign of respect, seeing a senior police official, you could want to hear what the police official is saying to you. And now the clicking, we could not understand each other while you were clicking.
Once you started talking, did they continue clicking or did they stop the clicking and listen to you?
Chairperson, I'm not talking about when we were talking. I'm talking about when I approached them and the singing of the song that I've referred to, together with the clicking. To me, it was already showing that you need to be, it was already giving us a different view of what we saw them in the past, taking from the question.
Yeah, no, General, I can't expect you to know that they had been clicking away on the way. So I'm not taking you to task about that. All I'm saying is that we now know that the clicking started when they turned from the police. And the only question I'm asking you is, once you then indicated that you wanted to talk, or once you started talking, did they continue clicking or did they stop the clicking and listen to you?
They did stop the clicking.
Thank you. All right. Okay, now we'll continue the video. We've established that they were singing the same song and clicking away. Let's move on. sorry, Chairperson. I just want to skip the verbal exchanges to the part where they pass the policeman. I think it's 11:50 or something.
No, Chairperson, the song that I referred to is not yet sung, so the singing of that song and the clicking is totally different, and that's what I wanted the Commission should see again.
Thank you, Chairperson. No, I'm actually trying to help you, General, because if your song, the one you're talking about, was sung, it would have been at the point at which they were supposedly defying you, so which is after the speeches. Which is roundabout now. Yeah. Okay. Can we now play on?
I think that those who are going to follow the record will want to know what roundabout now is. Where is this on the video clip?
11. 23 minutes, 13 seconds, Chairperson. Thank you. Stop. Would you agree that these people are still singing the same song that they sang when they were being turned by the police, by the security guards, and when they were stopped by you, and now they're singing it for the third time? The same song, Ingonyami Sekai.
Chairperson, I don't deny, but I see there is a persistent action of not showing the song that they sang, and the clicking was totally different from these ones. So I don't know whether maybe, because what I'm talking about is very specific, but I'm still being shown something that I'm not saying.
Albert Hemrose has made a suggestion which I think is very sensible, if I may say so, and that is the section that you want shown, again, for purpose of emphasis, during the lunch adjournment, we'll take a slightly longer lunch adjournment than usual. You can identify that section, little section you want, and discuss it with the technician, and then immediately we resume after lunch, that can be shown. That will save time, so the point you want will be shown and will be seen, and at the moment, the cross-examination belongs to Mr. Mpofu, and he's going to show us what he wants us to see. But your bits show us immediately after lunch, okay? Yes.
Thank you, Chairperson. General, yes, that's correct. We will get to your part. But on the parts, do you agree that when they passed, that stone is quite close to the road, correct? That big stone?
Yes, Chairperson.
And so when they were singing this very same song that they've been singing now, we don't know for how long, it is at the point at which they are leaving the road and getting into the veld, past the big stone, which we all saw when we went for the inspection, correct?
Yes, Chairperson.
And despite the fact that it may have been interrupted by another song or whatever you'll show us at lunchtime, but on what we've seen now, they are singing for the third time the same song that they sang when they were being turned back, when you first confronted them, and now, correct?
Yes, Chairperson, I hear they are singing the song, but I'm not quite sure about this song, what they are, the words of the song.
Okay, I'll help you and we'll listen to it.
But I don't dispute, Chairperson, that they are singing that song.
The one that says Ingonyami Sekai?
Yes, Chairperson, because even in the translations, maybe I've never seen it, but I'm not disputing that they are singing that song.
Well,
Mr. Mpofu, can you tell us what page it is on the transcript?
That would be QQ.
This is the transcript is QQ2.
Yes. Thank you, Chairperson.
Mr. Tekort has been looking for it and he can't find it, so perhaps you can help us. Well, perhaps we can do that after lunch as well. Let's. You are justifiably concerned we should use every available minute. So let's. These things can be looked for during lunch.
We'll tidy up when the General shows us his part. Yes. Thank you, Chairperson. Right. Now, the version, I was still putting the version to you, will be that at this point, they continued as they had continued before the police even showed up with the, as I say, singing the same song, clicking the weapons rhythmically as a form of clapping, as Mr. Magidwana explained.
Chairperson, I've answered this and I'm still repeating. I don't dispute anything that they are saying except that they did not adhere to my request of voluntarily handing over the dangerous weapons, which I told them that they are illegally possessing it. There is no law in any country that allows people to be so heavily armed.
Yes. And so they were defiant. But the point I'm making to you is that they were not showing aggression or any extra aggression in quotes than they did when they were turning back from the security guards.
Respond to that proposition.
I don't understand actually the proposition, except what I said, Chairperson, is that for me, for not having voluntarily handed over the weapons to me, that was legally incorrect, and it was actually an unlawful action. And the fact that as a senior police official requesting such adults to understand that for them to possess these dangerous weapons is dangerous, it was really incomprehensible.
Yes.
But any other action of whether they were now slow or fast, to me couldn't match some, and I don't dispute it. But the fact that they refused totally, that to me was a serious problem.
Yes, no, we are together on that. In fact, you're quite right that it would be unlawful to defy a policeman's clear instruction. But all I'm saying is that that's a different thing. Not everything that's unlawful is a sign of aggression. If I steal bread from Pick and Pay, I'm not fighting with anybody, but it's still unlawful. Accept that.
Chairperson, no, I don't accept it in the sense that there were already people that were murdered and killed through dangerous weapons. So the circumstances that I find myself in, it was of necessity that they themselves, seeing a senior police official talking their own language and telling them precisely that we are not there to arrest them, but we are concerned about them possessing dangerous weapons. It could have been easily comprehensible by even a child that here is a policeman approaching us in a very humble way. But the manner in which they did not comply with that humble request, actually in my seeing, that actually caused the most problems since from the 13th. Because if they handed over the weapons on that day, and as I've said to Advocate Mazanga, there could not have been the killing on that day.
Yes. Okay, we'll leave it to argument.
I think this is a point which we can take with lunch, gentlemen. I think the General has made his standpoint on this issue clear.
Leave it for argument.
Your case to him as well.
Thanks.
So let's take the lunch, gentlemen. I think we'll start at 2 o'clock. We'll try to start at 2 o'clock. In the meanwhile, I hope that the relevant section in the video clip will be identified, and I think the section also where this particular song is sung is identified in the transcript, and then we'll be able to proceed further.
Thanks, Chairperson.